Hey Anime Stark fam. Today, we're diving into a wild what-if scenario. Imagine if Deku married 4 heroines and 1 mysterious murderer. Brace yourselves for the unexpected twists in this thrilling journey. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's explore the multiverse together in What If Deku Married 4 Heroines and 1 Murderer, Part 1. We can see our beloved main character, green-haired, named Izuku Midoriya. He is getting up from his bed because he has to go to his classes at UA. Izuku showers, dresses, and eats his breakfast before leaving the house without saying goodbye to his mother, who unfortunately passed away 3 months ago. This event caused our green-haired protagonist to fall into a bit of depression. Fortunately, his aunt Mitsuki has been there for him, otherwise, he would have been completely sunk into depression. After a while, he arrives at UA and goes to his classroom. He has regular classes because he doesn't have a superpower, so he joined general courses to at least secure a good job and ensure his future. Nezu: alright, dear students, today you'll have a special class. Power Loader will take you to see how they make the costumes and other things that help hero aspirants. Everyone, except Izuku, awesome. Nezu: alright, let's go. Power Loader is waiting for us. Everyone leaves the classroom and walks toward the workshop. Upon arrival, they have to step back as there is an explosion. Power: May, did it happen again? He asks a pink-haired girl who stands up and cleans the dirt off her clothes. May: haha, failure is part of the path to success. Power: yeah, well, these are the general course kids. They're here today to see how we make costumes and other things. May: great. Okay, come this way. She says while entering the workshop, followed by the youngsters. However, Izuku stays outside, attracting the attention of Nezu and Power. Nezu: is something wrong, young Midoriya? Izuku: well, as you know, I don't have a superpower, so I don't think it's good for me to enter the workshop. Power: relax, kid. Don't worry about that. If someone bothers you, just let me know, and I'll inform the director. Izuku: alright. Izuku enters the workshop and is surprised to see a lot of technology. Unknown to many, Izuku is someone who aspires to be a great inventor like David Shield. This aspiration has led him to create small robots at home, including a small robot dog capable of barking and performing a few tricks. Izuku starts examining everything, prompting May to approach him. May: hi, kid. What's your name? Izuku: I'm Izuku Midoriya. And you? May: I'm May. Nice to meet you, Midoriya. I noticed you like these things. Izuku: yeah, you know, I've created some small robots and a small robot dog. May: really? Amazing. Izuku: yeah. I made them from pieces of scrap and some things I found in places with old cars and a junkyard. May: are you saying you created a robot and a dog from scrap? Izuku: getting nervous, why yes. May: kid, you're incredible. Do you have pictures of them? Izuku: why yes. Izuku takes out his phone and goes to the gallery, choosing a photo to show May, who is amazed by the little dog. Izuku takes out his phone and goes to the gallery, choosing a photo to show May, who is amazed by the little dog. May: wow, it's really cool, kid, especially considering it's made from scrap. Izuku: yeah, but for me, it's perfect even though it's made from scrap. May: and what's the other one? Izuku moves his finger to another photo, making May even more surprised. Izuku moves his finger to another photo, making May even more surprised. May: seriously, I still can't believe it. Power: what's going on, May? May: Power, look at this. Midoriya created 2 robots from scrap. May shows the 2 photos to Power, who stares at Izuku after seeing the pictures. Power: kid, did you really create them? Izuku, nervously trembling, why yes. Power: you're amazing. Izuku: it's not that big of a deal. Power: kid, you're wasting your potential. Would you like me to talk to the director so you can join this class? Izuku: and no need. Power: alright, but think about it, okay? Don't let the sadness of not having a superpower get to you. Izuku: thank you, sensei. Power: well, let's go back to the others. Thus, the classes continue. In Nezu's office, he observes a letter that caught his curiosity, opens it, and is surprised by its content. Back with Izuku during break, he hears his name called over the speakers, making him go to the office while contemplating Power Loader's words. After a while, he reaches the office, knocks on the door, and receives a come-in from the director. Without further ado, he enters the office and sees heroines Ryukyu, Mirko, Mount Lady, and Midnight, giving him a bad feeling. Nezu, hello, young Midoriya. Izuku, hello, director. Why did you call me? Nezu, well. Mirko, is this the brat? Ryukyu, Mirko, behave. Mount Lady, so, this is Inko's son. Nezu, silence, please. Well, I'll be brief and direct. Young Midoriya, you are married to the heroines here. Nezu's words leave Izuku in shock, making Nezu concerned as he sees Izuku stiffen. Nezu, young Midoriya, react. Izuku, huh? This. Director, I think I didn't hear correctly. Nezu, yes, you heard correctly, young Midoriya. You are married to the heroines here, according to this letter. Your mother, before she passed away, submitted a marriage certificate to the civil registry, stating that you are married to these heroines. When you were a child, these heroines signed a marriage certificate that your mother showed them. Mirko, damn rat, we were drunk that time, so we signed. Nezu, I'm sorry, but the marriage cannot be annulled until young Midoriya reaches adulthood. Nezu's statement causes the heroines to leave the office entirely enraged, leaving Izuku and Nezu alone, both looking at each other. Izuku, Director Nezu, really, there's no way to annul it? Nezu, no, young man, there isn't. Unfortunately, you will have to live with the heroines. The document also states that if they don't live with you, regardless of being heroines, they will go to jail. Izuku, Director, may I go home? Nezu, alright, young Midoriya. After all, this is quite shocking news. Oh, and one more thing, do you know Lady Nagant? Izuku, yes, she's a friend of my mother. It's been many years since I last saw her, and I know nothing about her. Nezu, well, you are also married to her, but unfortunately, she is in Tartarus. However, showing this, I think she might be released since, according to the guards, she has been exhibiting good behavior. Izuku, I see. Well, Director, I'll take my leave. Nezu, alright, young Midoriya. I'll inform the heroines. See you tomorrow. Izuku, yes, Director. See you. Thus, Izuku leaves the office and goes to his classroom, grabs his things, and heads home, reflecting on what just happened, as his mother never told him that she had married him to 4 heroines and 1 assassin. Izuku, mother. What have you done? He says while walking until, after a while, he arrives home, welcomed by his little dog and his robot, which greet him. Izuku responds to their greetings and then connects the little dog, causing it to go into suspension mode while the other robot follows Izuku. He arrives at his garage, where he has his workshop for inventing. He says while walking until, after a while, he arrives home, welcomed by his little dog and his robot, which greet him. Izuku responds to their greetings and then connects the little dog, causing it to go into suspension mode while the other robot follows Izuku. He arrives at his garage, where he has his workshop for inventing. Izuku starts making some adjustments to his robot, talking to it about what happened today. Talking to his robots makes Izuku feel better since he implanted a system that makes his robot respond when he speaks. Izuku, Wally, what time is it? Izuku says as he finishes making some adjustments to Wally, who responds with a robotic voice. Wally, 3 p.m. Izuku, I see. Can you go to the mailbox and get the bills? Wally, yes. Izuku watches as his robot exits through a small square in the garage door and, walking a few meters, reaches the mailbox. Wally stretches his arms and grabs the bills, then returns to Izuku. He notices that he has a utility bill of 300 yen for electricity and 150 yen for water, totaling 450 yen. Izuku, well. At least I'll have 550 yen left to buy groceries. Besides, with the robots I sell to the neighbors, I make a total of 1,000 yen. Izuku says as he looks at the bills and then puts them in his pocket. Izuku, alright, Wally, I have to go to work. If I arrive early, I'll leave early, so I'll get there early. Wally, yes. Izuku, alright, I'll change into my work clothes and head to work. Izuku stands up and goes to his room, changes into his work clothes, and after finishing, takes the bills out of his pocket and puts them in his backpack. He then leaves the house and, after a few minutes, arrives at his job, which is a restaurant near his home. Izuku, good afternoon, boss. Boss, hello, Midoriya. When you finish your shift, I need to talk to you. Izuku, alright. I have a bad feeling. The hours pass until Izuku finishes his shift. Izuku, finally. 8 p.m. At least it's earlier than usual. Izuku goes to his dressing room, changes into comfortable clothes, and then goes to his boss's office. After knocking on the door, He receives a come-in from his boss and enters the office. Izuku, well. What did you want to tell me, boss? Boss, Izuku, I know very well that you're the one who puts in the most effort and does an excellent job, but... Izuku, I see. Don't worry, boss. I understand. I'll take my things and leave. Boss, I really apologize, Izuku. Izuku, don't worry. I hope you have a good evening and everything goes well. Boss, here, this is your monthly pay. I'll give it to you here so that you don't have to go to the city center to withdraw the money. Izuku, thanks. Izuku receives the envelope with 1,000 yen and leaves the office. Once he reaches the dressing room, he grabs his backpack and puts the money inside before leaving his now former job. Izuku, darn it. Izuku says as he walks towards a place where, upon arrival, he pays the electricity and water bills. Afterward, he goes to a supermarket near his house. Once he finishes shopping, he leaves with bags in hand. Izuku, this month, I won't pay for gas since I have plenty left. Also, on some occasions, I don't eat, but now I'll have to spend double. Sighs, at least my father sends me some money. At least he cares a little about me. He has his other family, so it's understandable that he doesn't come, especially after separating from my mom. He got another family. I hope he's happy and doing well. As Izuku walks, he passes by a park where he sees many families playing, making him stop for a while. After a few minutes, he continues walking, realizing that it's already dark. Izuku, when I get home, I'll have to look for another job. As I said 3 months ago, I won't depend on the money my father sends me. Izuku arrives home and starts organizing the pantry, then finishes and starts cooking. While cooking, he hears the doorbell, so he tells Wally to open the door. Wally does so, and when the 4 heroines see a robot coming out of the house and greeting them, they are surprised. Ryukyu is the only one who greets Wally, crouching down to his height and touching him. Wally closes the door and starts walking until he reaches the door, where he stops and waits for the women to enter the house, which they do. Wally enters and closes the door, successfully entering the house. In the previous chapter of Married to 4 Heroines and 1 Assassin, Izuku says, I won't pay the gas this month since I have enough. Besides, there are times when I don't eat, but now I have to spend double. At least my father sends me some money. He has another family, so it's understandable that he doesn't come after separating from my mom. I hope he's happy and well. As Izuku walks, he passes a park where families are playing. He stops for a while, watching, and then continues when he realizes it's getting dark. Izuku, coming home, I'll have to find another job. I won't rely on my father's money after 3 months. He arrives home, organizes the pantry, starts cooking, and hears the doorbell. He sends Wally to answer, and the heroines are surprised to see a robot. They enter the house, and Izuku explains about his father and their living situation. Current chapter opening. The heroines, in the house entrance, find it surprisingly large and clean, not what they expected from a teenager living alone. They comment on it. Mirko, so, this is Inko's house. Midnight, yes, I remember it being smaller. Mount Lady, I expected it to be dirty. Ryukyu, hey, don't say such things. They take off their shoes and walk in. Izuku comes out and greets them nervously. Izuku, hello. Mirko pushes him aside, and they discuss room arrangements. Mirko claims Inko's room. As they argue, Izuku goes back to the kitchen. Ryukyu stays behind, apologizing for their behavior. Izuku, you can use my room if you want. Ryukyu, your room? Izuku, yes, I can sleep on the couch. Your job is tough, so you should sleep comfortably. Ryukyu agrees and heads to Izuku's room, noticing his All Might figurines. Ryukyu, he really likes All Might. The scene shifts to the heroines watching a movie. Izuku finishes cooking, brings the food to the dining table, but they take it to the living room. Ryukyu stays with Izuku. Izuku, aren't you going with them? Ryukyu, I don't want to leave you alone. Izuku, I'm not alone. I have them. Points to Wally and the dog. Ryukyu decides to stay with Izuku. Mirko arrives and asks for the bathroom. Mirko, hey, kid, where's the bathroom? Izuku, upstairs, first door on the left. Mirko leaves. Ryukyu and Izuku finish eating. Ryukyu wishes him good night and offers to leave his pajamas at his room's entrance. Izuku agrees, and Ryukyu goes to bed, smelling Izuku's scent on the pillow. Ryukyu, smells like lemons. It's a nice aroma. What am I saying, Ryuko. And after a few minutes, she falls asleep while Izuku turns off the lights and leaves the house. Izuku, well. I'll have to find a place where they can hire me. Izuku starts walking and reaches the city center, where he finds a small 24/7 mini supermarket. He sees the boss leaving and quickly catches up with him. Izuku, sir. Boss, I have no money, I left everything at home, so please don't mug me. Izuku, huh? No, sir, I'm looking for a job. I wanted to ask if you need staff for cleaning, attending customers, or organizing things. Boss, but you're just a kid. Izuku, please, sir, my mother passed away a few months ago, and I live alone. I need money to pay bills as I got laid off today due to staff cuts. Boss, but. Izuku, sir, I can work in the afternoon and evening. I can clean the aisles and organize things. Please, I need this job. Boss, alright, look, come back tomorrow at the same time, and we'll talk about the job. You seem to need it. Izuku, really? Thank you so much, sir. Boss, no problem, kid. Now go home and rest. Izuku, yes, but before that, I'll buy something, hee hee. Boss, alright, see you tomorrow. The boss drives away, and Izuku goes shopping, then walks back home. He leaves the groceries, goes to his garage, and starts working on another invention. Hours pass, and it's morning. Izuku takes a shower, wearing his pajamas, and after a few minutes, he comes out dressed and goes to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. He hears everyone waking up, showering, and coming down dressed, discovering that breakfast is ready. Ryukyu sits at the table, while the others quickly eat and head to their jobs. Izuku sits and starts eating with Ryukyu. Ryukyu, you're still in pajamas. Izuku, well, you were asleep in my room, so I can't just go in and change. I wouldn't want you to wake up and find me in the room. Ryukyu, you just have to knock, and I'll wake up. Izuku, fair enough. Ryukyu, the breakfast is delicious, Midoriya. I'm sorry for what the others did. Izuku, don't worry, maybe they were in a hurry. Ryukyu, I doubt it. Izuku, it's okay, Miss Ryukyu. Don't worry. Ryukyu, alright. By the way, the breakfast is delicious, you cook very well. Izuku, blushes thank you. Ryukyu, you're welcome. Ryukyu finishes eating, bids farewell to Izuku, Wally, and the robot dog. They also say goodbye, and she leaves for her agency. Izuku goes to his room, changes into another uniform, and heads to UA after saying goodbye to his robot friends. Wally stays behind, cleaning the house. After a few minutes, Izuku arrives at UA, goes to his class, and waits for the others to arrive as the class begins. Izuku, I hope I do well at work today. The classes go on until they finish, and Izuku goes home where he starts preparing food. After a few minutes, he finishes and sits down to eat while talking to Wally and his dog about a new invention, which both the dog and Wally approve of. Izuku finishes eating, goes to the kitchen, washes his plate, and also cleans the pot he used since he only made food for himself. Once done, he goes to a room next to the bathroom where there's a washing machine. He grabs his dirty clothes, washes them, and hangs them in the backyard. After finishing with the laundry, he enters the house and goes to the garage, where he starts making plans for a project. Hours pass, and the girls arrive. Wally opens the door, goes to the garage, while the girls enter the house. Mount Lady, Midnight, and Mirko go to their rooms, while Ryukyu looks for Midoriya, who is still in the garage, deeply focused. Ryukyu, Midoriya. Izuku hears Ryukyu and startles, causing him to fall. Ryukyu walks over, helps him up. Izuku, how did you find this place? Ryukyu, I asked your robot where you were. Izuku, you mean Wally? Ryukyu, its name is Wally? Izuku, yeah, that's right. Wally, come, it's time for maintenance. Wally arrives, Izuku saves his plans, lifts Wally onto a table, turns him off for a few minutes, opens his back, and starts maintaining him. Ryukyu watches impressed as Izuku does the job well. After a few minutes, Izuku finishes, closes Wally's back, opens the front, removes the trash, puts it in a bag, and closes the front. Izuku turns Wally on, leaves him on the floor, and Wally goes to the living room to clean. Ryukyu, that was quite amazing, Midoriya. Izuku, well. I want to be an inventor like Professor David Shield. Ryukyu, really? I thought you were studying to be a hero. Izuku, I can't tell her I don't have a quirk, and no. I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I'd rather be an inventor so I can create things that help humanity. Izuku picks up his plan, places it on the table, and continues drawing. Ryukyu, I see. And what are you doing now? Izuku, I'm making a plan to create gloves with retractable claws. Ryukyu, what's that? Izuku, basically, they're gloves from which metal claws can come out, either from the knuckles or the fingers. Ryukyu, that sounds pretty cool. Izuku, yeah, Professor Power Loader gave us this task. I have to submit it tomorrow. Ryukyu, I see. Can I use the kitchen? Izuku, why are you asking me? Ryukyu, well, it's your house after all, and entering its places without permission is disrespectful. Izuku, don't worry, and besides, this is your house now too. After all, I think we'll be living together for a long time, hee hee. Ryukyu looks at him and realizes that Izuku never takes his eyes off the plan he's working on. Ryukyu, you're quite focused. Izuku, yeah. This place is where I spend most of my time. Ryukyu, I can see that. Well, I'll go cook dinner. I'll let you know when it's ready. Izuku, thank you very much. With that said, Ryukyu leaves the garage and closes the door so the girls won't bother Izuku, who continues working on his plan. Mirko, hey Ryuko, where's the kid? And why isn't the food ready? Mount Lady, he should attend to us and have food ready. Midnight, maybe he's busy doing his things. Ryukyu, he's busy, so I'll cook. Mirko, your food is horrible. Ryukyu, you say that out of envy since you only eat carrots. Mirko, is there anything wrong with that? Ryukyu, you should eat other things. Mirko, shut up and tell me where the brat is. Ryukyu, he's doing his homework, leave him be. Mirko, hey, we have to figure out how to annul this damn marriage. Mount Lady, Inko was our friend, but I don't want to be married to her son. Midnight, me neither. A pubescent teenager, probably a pervert, is married to us. It's disgusting. Mirko, I want to leave. I don't like living with a pubescent brat. Ryukyu, why don't you all stop talking and help me cook? Mirko, no thanks. Mount Lady, I'll pass. She says while checking social media. Midnight, I'm tired, so I'll pass. She says while watching a soap opera, causing Ryukyu to sigh and start cooking while Izuku is almost done with the plan before moving on to another one for his convenience. Izuku, well, I can add new functions to Wally and the pet robot. But what new functions can I add to them? He says while looking at the plans of Wally and the pet robot. Izuku, let's see. I can add a new function that makes him climb stairs since he spends most of his time on the lower floor. He never goes to the other floor unless he has to make a ramp, but that's dangerous as the ladies might fall. Izuku keeps thinking until he comes up with an idea. He quickly starts working on an empty plan where he begins to draw and jot down some things like 2 meters of rope and other items until he finishes after a few minutes. He then looks at his workshop, where he starts searching for some things he finds. He quickly starts creating something. Minutes pass, and Ryukyu goes back to the garage. Upon entering, she realizes that Izuku is not there, which worries her a bit. Ryukyu, Midoriya? Where are you? She says while looking for Izuku, who appears in front of her hanging from the ceiling, causing Ryukyu to be frightened and punch Izuku in the face, making him fall to the ground. Ryukyu worries and quickly goes to Izuku, who is getting up, rubbing his head. Ryukyu, Midoriya, forgive me. Izuku, don't worry, ma'am, it was my fault, hee hee, I'm sorry. Ryukyu, what were you doing on the ceiling? And how did you get there? Izuku, oh, well, I was testing an upgrade for Wally. Ryukyu, really? What can the upgrade do? Izuku, well, it can shoot a rope with which it can go up to the second floor since it can't climb. It spends its time cleaning only the first floor. Ryukyu, I see. By the way, dinner is ready. Shall we eat? Izuku, alright, I'll be there in a moment. Ryukyu, okay. Ryukyu leaves the garage while the other girls are eating until they notice Izuku arriving. They quickly finish and stand up to go to their rooms, while Ryukyu sighs and watches Izuku continue eating without saying anything. Izuku, it hurts a bit that they do that, but it's understandable. Maybe I would act the same way if it happened to me. Ryukyu, Midoriya, are you okay? Izuku, eh? Ah, yes, don't worry, ma'am. The food is really good. Ryukyu, blushes a bit, thank you, Midoriya. Minutes pass until they finish eating and stand up, but Izuku takes the 2 plates and goes to wash them, followed by Ryukyu, who, upon reaching the kitchen, starts helping Izuku and organizes the dishes he washed. Izuku, thank you, ma'am. Ryukyu, you're welcome, Midoriya. Izuku, well, I think it's time for me to go to sleep since I have to work tomorrow, right? Ryukyu, are you acting like a husband? She says with a slightly flirtatious tone, causing Izuku to blush a bit. Izuku, I. Ryukyu, relax, besides, you're right. I have to get up early tomorrow. Izuku, has work been very tiring? Ryukyu, yes, more villains are appearing, and they are becoming more dangerous, which is quite worrisome. Izuku, I can imagine. Ryukyu, and you, why don't you want to be a hero, Midoriya? When Izuku hears what Ryukyu asks, he just remains silent and leaves the kitchen, causing Ryukyu to follow him. Izuku, it's late. I'll go to sleep. Good night, ma'am. Izuku says before taking a blanket from a cabinet and lying down on the couch, covering himself with the blanket, causing Ryukyu to go to Izuku's room and go to sleep after taking a shower. Ryukyu, why didn't he tell me? Has something bad happened to him? Ryukyu wonders before falling asleep after a few minutes, while Izuku gets up, leaves the house after turning off the lights. Once outside, he starts walking towards the mini supermarket where the boss is waiting for him. Once inside the office, Izuku starts answering the boss's questions, and after about 30 minutes, he leaves the office with a big smile as he managed to get the job. Without wasting time, he walks to the bathroom where he changes into the work clothes the boss gave him. Once changed, he puts the clothes in the backpack he brought and starts cleaning the aisles of the mini supermarket, while the cashier goes home, leaving only Izuku, who, after a few minutes, finishes cleaning the aisles and starts organizing the disordered products. Izuku, at least it's an interesting job. It's not boring for me at least. Izuku says while continuing to organize until after a while, he finishes and immediately goes to the cashier where he sits and starts attending to the people who enter until after a couple of hours. Morning comes, and Izuku leaves, leaving a woman who works there during the day. Izuku, well, it wasn't difficult at all. Izuku says while walking home while watching the sunrise. Izuku, how beautiful. He says while walking until he reaches his house, where upon entering, he finds Wally cleaning. He quickly goes to the kitchen and starts making breakfast. Mount Lady is the first to get up, already showered and dressed in her hero costume. She notices that breakfast is ready, a little surprised but not caring much, she starts eating. After a few seconds, she sees the others coming down, ready to leave. They notice the breakfast and start eating. Nemuri, where's Midoriya? Mount Lady, I don't know. When I got up and came down, I didn't see anyone. Mirko, surely the kid knows. Hey, robot, do you know where the brat went? Wally, he went to the academy. Ryukyu, he left early. Nemuri, maybe he has things to do, but as far as I know, classes start at 8, and it's only 7:30. Mount Lady, well, who cares? I'm done eating, so see you later. She says, getting up and walking to the kitchen. There, she sees 4 pots on a shelf containing food, each with a label. Mount Lady reads them and is surprised to find that the pots have food for the 4 heroines, with their names on the papers. The other heroines come to the kitchen and see the same, causing them great surprise. Without saying a word, they grab the pots and leave for their jobs, while Wally stays behind to clean the house. Izuku, on the other hand, arrives at the academy and sits at his desk. He adjusts himself and starts sleeping until the bell wakes him up, signaling the start of classes. Izuku pays attention to the lessons and is later taken to the power loader class. He hands in his assignment to his teacher, who is surprised by the detailed work. He congratulates Izuku, who smiles a bit, and the class continues with more lessons on robotics. After a few hours, the bell rings for lunch, and everyone goes to the cafeteria. Izuku takes his tray and sits in a secluded spot away from the others. While eating, he takes out a notebook with notes on each hero and starts reading. After a few minutes, the break ends, and everyone returns to their classrooms. Izuku is called by Power Loader, and he notices that Aizawa, or Eraserhead, is there, catching his attention. Izuku, tell me, sensei. Power, Midoriya, I need you to go to Aizawa's students' practice and see what they need to use their quirks more freely or easily. Izuku, why me, sensei? Power, I've seen you, Midoriya, and I know you have great analytical skills. That notebook you always carry has an interesting name. Izuku, well, okay, sensei. Aizawa, Relax, I just want you to analyze their abilities and see how they can use their quirks more easily. Izuku, okay. Aizawa and Izuku go to the USJ. When they enter, they see Class 1A students. Aizawa addresses them, and Izuku, who some find attractive, starts analyzing their quirks. Aizawa, alright, go and start using your quirks. He'll analyze you, and we'll see what modifications we can make to your costumes for easier and more effective quirk usage. Everyone begins to showcase their quirks, and Izuku starts analyzing and drawing them in his notebook. After a while, Izuku finishes his analysis but is interrupted as a purple portal appears, and someone comes through, causing Aizawa to stand in front of his students. Villains ambush them, but Aizawa quickly defeats them, allowing his students to leave. Shoto Todoroki stays behind, using his ice to help Aizawa. Aizawa, well done, Todoroki. Now, go with the others. Shoto, I won't leave, sensei. Aizawa, go and tell Ida that when they get upstairs, he should use his quirk to get other heroes and tell them we're under attack by real villains. Shoto, okay. Shoto runs towards his classmates and tells Ida to go get the heroes. Ida quickly leaves the scene, and a purple fog appears, transporting some to different parts of USJ. Those who manage to dodge the fog descend to help their teacher, who is fighting a villain with many hands on his body. Additionally, a humanoid chicken with its brain exposed emerges from the portal. Aizawa, what is that? Question mark, he's the experiment designed to defeat All Might, ha ha ha. Aizawa, so, they came for All Might. Yes, but he's not here, so. Nomu, kill him. Aizawa, Nomu? Aizawa watches as the humanoid chicken lunges at him at a chilling speed. Aizawa dodges the attacks using his bindings, but the Nomu persists. Aizawa eventually uses his bindings to make the Nomu's head hit the ground, delivering a kick to its head. This enrages the Nomu, and it intensifies its attacks, causing Aizawa significant injuries. However, an explosion hits the Nomu, making it step back. Question mark, hey, sensei, don't tell me you're done fighting. Aizawa, Bakugo. Guys, what are you doing here? Leave, this is too dangerous for you. Shoto, we came to UA to become heroes. We can't leave if you're being attacked. Bakugo, hey, nerd, take the teacher before he gets killed. Bakugo says to Izuku, who managed to escape the purple mist and came down to help despite not having a quirk. Izuku, Bakugo, don't give me orders. Pay attention to the enemy. Izuku says, proceeding to carry Aizawa. However, the Nomu moves quickly and reaches Izuku. Izuku realizes this, throws Aizawa aside, and takes a punch to the chest. He spits out blood and feels ribs breaking, getting thrown until he crashes into trees. Gasping for air on the ground, he urges himself to stand but loses consciousness when the entrance door explodes, signaling the arrival of a hero. 5 hours later. Izuku slowly opens his eyes, realizing he's on a bed in the infirmary. He looks around and sees he's in the medical area. Attempting to sit up, he feels intense pain in his chest, noticing bandages. Wondering about Aizawa's condition and the fate of the villains, he contemplates, eventually realizing it's 8 p.m. Izuku, what happened? What about the villains? Attempting to sit up, he notices Namuri, also known as Midnight, entering the room. Izuku, Midnight Sensei? Why are you here? Namuri, I see you're awake. How do you feel? Izuku, okay. Where's Aizawa Sensei? Namuri, he left a while ago. Why do you ask? Izuku, I want to see him and make sure he's okay. Namuri, he's not entirely fine, but he's recovering. Don't worry, he's tough, and his injuries won't be fatal. Izuku, I see. What time is it? Namuri, checks her phone. It's 8 p.m. Izuku, I start work at midnight, so I have time to go home, grab something to eat, and rest a bit. Namuri, well, it's time to go. Izuku, are you leaving with me? Namuri, we live in the same house, so that's obvious. Izuku, okay. Namuri, here, take this. Go home, get changed, your uniform is in bad shape. Izuku, receives the uniform, thank you very much. Namuri, well, get dressed so we can leave. Izuku, can you leave, please? Namuri, just change, I'm not a pervert, so relax. Izuku, but. Namuri, Izuku, change quickly, I want to get home to rest. Izuku, okay. Izuku gets up from the bed, causing Namuri to blush a bit as she can't help but look. After a few minutes, they leave the room and start walking through the academy. Namuri, hey, Midoriya, can you accompany me to my office? I need to get some papers. Izuku, okay. Nemuri smiles, and Izuku continues walking until they reach the office. Nemuri grabs some papers, and they leave, chatting about trivial things. They share personal stories, creating a small connection. Nemuri, people, as you know, always focus on my body because my costume is tight, but the thing is, I like it that way. Izuku, you know, I've been thinking about your costume for a while. You might have the option not to tear it when using your quirk. Nemuri, really? Izuku, yes, it's just a bit of an odd change, but it would be good for you, or at least that's what I think. Nemuri, tell me, what's the option? Izuku, well, you could have a belt containing some grenades. When those grenades explode, they release large amounts of your sleep-inducing substance. Nemuri, that's a good and quite original idea. Izuku, yeah, ideas come to me unexpectedly sometimes. Nemuri, that's good because you're quite smart and creative. Izuku, thank you. Continuing with your costume, you could have holes in the sleeves of your suit, and thin tubes will come out of these holes, releasing the sleep-inducing substance. Additionally, if you want, you can also have those tubes on your legs, so you can release the substance in different ways. With tubes on your arms, you can expel the substance straight, and with tubes on your legs, you can expel the substance in a single direction, which would be quite useful. Nemuri, that's a good idea. But how do you compensate for being attacked from behind while releasing the substance? Izuku, it's simple, that's what the tubes on the legs are for. While you release the substance with your arms, substance will also come out of the tubes in your legs, in a single direction, towards the ground. When the substance hits the ground, it will quickly spread, preventing villains from attacking you from behind. Nemuri, yes, you have good ideas. I'll think about it, okay? Izuku, that makes me a bit happy, hee. Izuku says, flashing a protagonist smile, making Nemuri blush a bit. Nemuri, his smile is very cute. Besides, that body. Calm down, Nemuri, he's just a kid. Izuku, Midnight Sensei? Nemuri, what's wrong? Izuku, I was talking to you, but you weren't listening. Nemuri, I'm sorry. I was thinking, but let's go quickly, I'm hungry. Izuku, yes, you're right. Let's go. After a few minutes, they arrive at the house. Finding Mirko, Ryukyu, and Mount Lady watching a movie. We can see our green-haired friend sitting in his garage, where he's sketching a plan for a new invention he wants to create. Izuku, I have only 2 hours before work, so at least I can finish the plan. Our green-haired guy says while he continues to write and draw some things with a good design. Izuku, I realize that I am weak. And I need a way to defend myself. Boxing and martial arts techniques won't help me against strong villains. He says while still drawing with total concentration. Izuku, I don't have a superpower, so I'll create my own power. He finishes drawing and looks at his plan, which shows a type of metal armor with a pretty good design for a prototype. Izuku, no one will stop me from being a hero, I have a very smart brain, so it's time to start using my intelligence. Izuku stands up with a bit of pain but doesn't mind and continues walking until he reaches the room where he sees his wives watching a movie. They start looking at him. Ryukyu, where are you going, Midoriya? Izuku, eh? Oh, right, they don't know, I have to go somewhere important. Ryukyu, but you can't go out, you're still injured. Nemuri, Ryuko is right, you have to stay here. Izuku, I can't do that because there are important things I have to do. Ryukyu, do you want me to come with you? Izuku, don't worry, Miss Ryukyu, I'll be fine. Nemuri, are you sure? Izuku, yes, just personal things I need to solve quickly. Ryukyu, okay, take care, alright? Izuku, thanks. Nemuri, well, say goodbye properly to your wives. She says in a playful tone, making Izuku blush. Izuku, okay. Nemuri, I want a goodbye kiss. I assume you won't be home early, right? Izuku, well. No, I won't be home early. Nemuri, then come and give me a goodbye kiss. She says authoritatively, making Izuku a bit flustered as he goes to Nemuri, who looks at him with a tender and affectionate smile. Izuku, here I go. Izuku approaches Nemuri's cheek slowly until his lips touch her cheek. He quickly pulls away. Izuku, well. See you. Ryukyu, wait. I also want a goodbye kiss. She says blushing, causing Izuku to blush too, But without wasting time, he walks to Ryuko and kisses her cheek, making her blush like a tomato. Izuku, damn. I've never kissed a woman on the cheek besides my mom. After a while, Izuku manages to get to work. After a few hours, he finishes his shift and goes home, where he finds Ryukyu sleeping on the couch. He wakes her up. Izuku, Miss Ryukyu, wake up. He says while shaking her until she wakes up, looking worried, which makes him feel a bit cared for. Ryukyu, where were you? And why are you coming at this hour? She asks with a concerned tone and expression. Izuku, I told you yesterday that I had things to do. Ryukyu, but you were out all night. Izuku, I'm sorry. Ryukyu, Midoriya, why are you dressed like that? She observes Izuku's work clothes, and he realizes it, standing up and stepping back. Ryukyu, are you working at night? She asks with concern, getting up and approaching Izuku, who lowers his head in silence. Ryukyu, Midoriya, answer me. Are you working at night? Izuku nods silently, causing Ryukyu to cover her mouth in surprise. Ryukyu, that explains everything. Your dark circles, your tiredness, your discouragement. She says while watching Izuku still with his head down. Izuku begins to walk to his room, leaving Ryukyu sitting on the couch. Ryukyu, why didn't I notice earlier? She says while looking at the floor, while Izuku showers and changes clothes. He comes down, prepares breakfast, puts it in his backpack, and leaves for UA. Upon arrival, he meets Nezu, who talks to him. Nezu, so, what do you say, young Midoriya? It's a pretty good way to earn money, and I know very well that you work at night. Izuku, how do you know? Nezu, I know everything about the students, so you can't hide anything from me. Izuku, really, what you're saying is true. Nezu, of course, young Midoriya. I know very well that you're quite intelligent. Power Loader told me that you created 2 robots with scrap, so if you make a humanoid robot with the material I'll provide, we can sell it for a good amount of money since some agencies buy our robots. Izuku, how much will I get? Nezu, how about a 60-40 split, 60% for you and 40% for me, since you're the one creating them and using your intelligence. Izuku, sounds great. Nezu, then it's settled. We'll start right away, and I'll send the materials to your house. Izuku, alright. I'll do my best. Nezu, if you want, don't come to class tomorrow. I know you need rest. Izuku, but. Nezu, don't worry about the class. If there are assignments, I'll make sure to collect them and pass them to Midnight so she can give them to you. Izuku, okay, director. Thank you very much. Nezu, don't worry, young Midoriya. I know all the effort you put in to pay your bills, and helping you makes me feel good. Izuku, thank you again. Hee hee. Yawns. Nezu, looks like you're tired. Izuku, yeah. Miss Ryukyu found out I work at night, and I think she's upset. Nezu, we'll do this. You go home and talk to Ryukyu, while I arrange for the materials you need for the robot. I'll also collect any assignments Power Loader gives you. Izuku, are you serious? Nezu, yes. Now go and solve your problem. Nezu, what you know about eavesdropping is impolite, Midnight. Midnight, I need to talk to you. Nezu, okay, let's go to my office. They walk to the office, leaving Izuku arriving home. He hurries to Ryukyu. Izuku, Miss Ryukyu. Ryukyu, I don't want to talk to you, Midoriya. Izuku grabs her wrist, making her turn to him. He doesn't say anything, leading her inside and closing the door. They reach the living room. Izuku, well, I came to talk to you about what happened earlier. He looks at Ryukyu seriously. Izuku, since the day I got the news that I'm married to you and the other heroines, I had to start working at night because I got fired from my previous job due to staff cuts. Even though I always did a good job, I got fired anyway. He continues looking seriously at Ryukyu, who understands a bit why Izuku works at night. Ryukyu, that's understandable, but why not look for a day job? Izuku, do you think any place will give a minor a job? Ryukyu, you're right, but now I'm your wife, and I can help you pay the bills. I don't like living for free. Izuku, no. I know you have a good salary as a professional hero, but I don't want you to help me. I've been taking care of the bills for a long time, and having someone else do it would make me feel bad. Ryukyu, if you think that would make you a freeloader, you're quite wrong. Wives should support their husbands, especially since you look very tired and need a lot of sleep. Izuku, but. Ryukyu, please, Midoriya. Don't continue, or we won't get anywhere. So let me help you at least with the bills or groceries. Izuku, can I think about it? Ryukyu, yes. Think well because I really want to help you. Izuku, okay. I'll consult my pillow. Ryukyu, won't you go to class? Izuku, Director Nezu allowed me to skip since some materials will arrive today for the robot I'm going to create. We'll sell it, and I'll get some money. Ryukyu, really? Izuku, yes. Ryukyu, that's great, Midoriya, as it can help you get many things, and your life can change for the better. Izuku, exactly. I want to be a great inventor to help the heroes. Ryukyu, Midoriya, do you have a quirk? Izuku stays silent but decides to answer, as Ryukyu has been the one who gets along with him the best. Izuku, no, I don't have a quirk. That's why I can't be a hero like you or the other heroines or All Might, as you all have quirks. He says while looking down, but then remembers his plan, lifts his head, and looks at Ryukyu, who has a surprised expression. Izuku, but I won't let a quirk decide whether I'll be a hero or not because the only one who decides that is me and no one else. So if you think I can't be one, it's better to save your words because I won't consider them. He firmly states his response, surprising Ryukyu even more. Izuku, well, I'll go to sleep for a while. Have a nice day at work, and see you later. He smiles, then stands up, goes to his room, changes into comfortable clothes, and lies down to sleep while Ryukyu is still surprised. After a few seconds, she comes out of shock and starts thinking about what Izuku said. Ryukyu, I see that behind this shy and hard-working boy hides a determined and firm man with an ideal to achieve his dream. It's quite cute and cool. I guess having him as a husband isn't so bad. She says while looking at a photo of Inko and Izuku. Ryukyu, you have an interesting son, Inko. Sighs well, I'll inform that I won't work today and come to tidy up the house since Wally can't handle everything even if he's a robot. She says while getting up and leaving the house. Upon arriving at the agency, she announces her absence and returns home. When she arrives, she goes to her room, takes some clothes, changes in the bathroom, comes out, and goes to the living room to start tidying up while our protagonist sleeps. The hours pass until it's 3 p.m., and Ryukyu hears the doorbell ring. She goes outside and sees a person in a blue suit, indicating they're a delivery person. Ryukyu, hi. Delivery person, does Izuku Midoriya live here? Ryukyu, yes, I'm his wife. Delivery person, I have some things for him. Ryukyu, he's asleep, but I can receive them. Delivery person, okay. Ryukyu calls Wally, who opens the gate, and the delivery person unloads 30 boxes from the truck. Ryukyu signs some papers, and the delivery person leaves. Wally closes the gate, and they enter the house. Ryukyu starts cooking while Wally cleans. After 30 minutes, Ryukyu goes upstairs and finds Izuku sleeping. She wakes him up. Izuku, I'm awake. What's up? Ryukyu, the food is ready, and materials from Nezu arrived. Izuku, Miss Ryukyu, why are you here? Thanks for letting me know. Ryukyu, I wanted to stay, help out, and give you a break. Also, I needed some rest. Izuku gets up, and they go to have lunch. Ryukyu seems happy. Izuku, are you happy? Ryukyu, yep. Izuku, why? Ryukyu, what do you mean? Izuku, I mean, is there a specific reason for your happiness and big smile? Ryukyu blushes. Ryukyu, well, it just makes me happy to have a day off. Izuku, I'm glad if that's the case. After eating, Ryukyu washes dishes, and Izuku works on a humanoid robot in the garage. It's designed to copy fighting techniques and enhance the abilities of aspiring heroes. Ryukyu joins in, and they share a pleasant moment. After hours, they stop, and Ryukyu admires the sturdy design of the robot's legs. Ryukyu, they seem strong. Izuku, I have to do my best. This robot will be sold to hero agencies or other places for training aspiring heroes. Ryukyu, this way, I can understand it. She says while reading the sheet listing the robot's functions. Izuku is surprised but doesn't take the notebook away. After reading, Ryukyu notices several notebooks on a shelf, catching her interest. Ryukyu, Midoriya, what's this? She points to the notebooks, making Izuku blush. He tries to move them, but Ryukyu picks one up and reads the cover. Ryukyu, Hero Analysis N1. She exclaims, leaving Izuku stunned as she opens it and starts reading about various heroes' weaknesses, techniques, and quirks. Ryukyu, this is incredible. You have information on so many heroes. How amazing. She says with stars in her eyes, turning to a nervous and blushing Izuku. Ryukyu, Midoriya, this is so cool. I never imagined you had this. She continues reading, leaving Izuku shocked. He tries to take the notebooks away, but Ryukyu grabs another one to read. Izuku, please, Miss Ryukyu, don't say such things, and please don't take my notebooks. Ryukyu, but, Midoriya, these notebooks are valuable. With these, you could easily surpass some heroes. Izuku, please, stop. Ryukyu, alright, but I want to keep reading. They're so interesting. Izuku, okay, but please take care of them. Ryukyu, you can count on it. Ryukyu smiles and watches as Izuku goes back to his seat, reviewing the plans. He opens boxes, and with Ryukyu's help, they assemble the waist and torso of the robot. After 5 hours, they make significant progress, but realizing the time, Ryukyu leaves for a shower. Meanwhile, Izuku works on the left arm of the robot, achieving success after a while. He places it on a table and returns to his seat, pulling out a blueprint for the armor he plans to build. After 30 minutes of drawing, Mount Lady arrives, entering the garage and expressing astonishment at everything Izuku has. While Izuku regrets leaving the garage door open. Mount Lady, so, this is where you spend your time, huh? Izuku, Mount Lady, please don't touch anything, everything here is dangerous. Izuku says, observing Mount Lady looking at some of his failed inventions on a shelf. Mount Lady, so, you're an inventor. Izuku, why yes. I want to be a great inventor like David Shield to help heroes. Mount Lady, really? Izuku, yes. Mount Lady, that's a long road, and few succeed. Izuku, I know. But I won't give up, I won't let others decide whether I'll make it or not. I won't consider others' opinions. Izuku says determinedly, causing Mount Lady to fall silent. Suddenly, she approaches Izuku closely, making him blush. Mount Lady, you know, thank you for the food you left in the plastic container yesterday. It was delicious, so you deserve a reward. Izuku, Mount Lady, you're very close. Izuku says as Mount Lady gets even closer until her lips touch his cheek, leaving Izuku in shock. Mount Lady, maybe I'll ask you to create some things for me. I hope I can count on your support. She says, smiling. Izuku snaps out of his shock, goes to a shelf, and pulls out a mask similar to Mount Lady's but with transparent lenses resembling glasses, surprising Mount Lady. Izuku, you know, I've seen heroes wearing these for a while. Considering you can become giant, you're vulnerable to attacks from behind and below. So, I created this mask with a mechanism that indicates things like potential attacks from behind or below. It's not perfect, I'm still working on adding a voice feature. It also tells you the distance to a villain. Izuku's explanation astonishes Mount Lady, showcasing his intelligence and innovative creations. Mount Lady, does it really work? Izuku, yes. Want to try them? Mount Lady, can I? Izuku, of course, and it would help me find any flaws. Mount Lady, alright. Izuku closes the garage door, and they head to the backyard. Mount Lady puts on the mask, and the display activates, showing information about Izuku, impressing her. Mount Lady, this is incredible. The mask gives me information about you and what I see. Izuku, I'm glad because I had to connect that mechanism to my computer, which suffered severe damage and became irreparable. That's why I couldn't continue improving them. Mount Lady, I see. But this is amazing. Izuku, you can keep them, but we need to test them. Can you become giant, please? Mount Lady, sure. Mount Lady grows in size, and Izuku throws a stone towards her legs. The mask successfully indicates danger. Izuku, good, it works. Now let's test if it works against an attack from behind. Izuku moves behind Mount Lady, who stands still, and throws another stone. She catches it, demonstrating that the danger mechanism works. Izuku, great, it works. Mount Lady, it's evident you're quite intelligent and a great inventor. I'll keep these glasses. Mount Lady shrinks back to her normal size, and Izuku approaches her. Izuku, you can keep them, and when I get a new computer, you'll have to return them for further improvements. Mount Lady, alright. Thank you. Izuku is surprised but smiles, and Mount Lady blushes a bit. They head inside as Ryukyu announces that dinner is ready. Izuku showers, gets dressed, and joins them for dinner before preparing to go to work. Izuku can be seen in his home garage, diligently assembling a robot that looks promising. He has been working on it for 3 weeks, putting a lot of effort into it. As the 3 weeks pass, Izuku is determined to complete the robot, and it's only missing one piece. After a couple of hours, Izuku finishes building the robot. He turns it on and watches as it starts talking and tidying up the garage. This surprises him, and he stares at it before grabbing his phone to call Nezu, who answers promptly. Izuku. Principal. Nezu. Yes, tell me, young Midoriya. Izuku. The robot is ready. You can come and see it if you want. Nezu. Alright, I'll be there immediately. Izuku. I'll be waiting here. Izuku ends the call and continues looking at the robot, which continues organizing. This sparks an idea, and he takes out a new plan, starting to draw something. Izuku, Wally needs a partner for cleaning, so I'll use the spare parts the principal sent me. He continues drawing until he finishes and starts building what he drew. Izuku, it'll take some time, so I won't rush it. I also have to make the armor, but I need many materials, and the only way to get what I lack is with money. For now, I have saved 100,000 yen, and I need much more to buy everything I need. He says this while constructing what he had drawn until Nezu arrives with Aizawa. Aizawa is surprised to see the robot Izuku created, as well as the other robot he is working on, and Wally and the pet robot. Izuku, hello, Aizawa-sensei. Aizawa, hello, Midoriya. I see you have quite the company. He looks at Wally and the robot still organizing. Izuku, well, I created that little one you see there a year ago, and I finished the puppy, I think, the day they told me I'm married to 4 heroines and 1 assassin. Aizawa, I see. You have a good brain, and you create some cool things. Izuku, thank you, but I just made Wally because my mom didn't spend much time with me due to her heroine work, and Wally accompanied me during those times. Besides, every time she came, we had a great time together with Wally. It's like a memory I have of her since she helped me create Wally and taught me robotics. Aizawa, that's interesting. Izuku, exactly. Nezu, young Midoriya, as you know, is the son of the heroine Grina Track or Mrs. Inko Midoriya. Aizawa, yeah, I know. Your mother was a very intelligent woman, and she created things for her heroine costume herself. Izuku, I didn't know that. Aizawa, there's something you didn't know, ha. Izuku, thanks. He smiles at Aizawa, who just gives a slight smile in return, then listens to Nezu speak. Nezu, well, to the point. Izuku, yes, your robot is ready. If you want to try it, go ahead, and I'm sure you'll be surprised. Nezu, I like that. Nezu gives orders to the robot, which does everything Nezu says, leaving our mutant mouse surprised. Nezu, wow. Aizawa, I'm as surprised as you, director. Nezu, without a doubt, young Midoriya is very intelligent. Izuku, thank you, director. Nezu, you're welcome. Well, now we have to take it and call one of my contacts who has already bought the robot. So once he gives me the money, I'll bring your share to you, okay? Izuku, okay. Thank you very much, director. Nezu, you're welcome, young Midoriya. Izuku turns off the robot. Aizawa carries it to the car, leaving it in the back, and leaves with Nezu. Izuku goes back to his work, contemplating more things. Izuku, if I want to have the armor, I need an energy reactor for it to work. But I'll need a lot of energy since I plan to use it quite a bit. Izuku says as he continues looking at the plan on the table, causing him to start thinking and muttering many things until his thoughts begin to mix. Izuku, darn it. He says as he scratches his head, then starts to remember something. Someday, you'll be ready to use this. I know very well that you'll have a lot of mental potential, so I'll leave you something very important, something I've worked on my entire life. Izuku looks at the plans with wide eyes. Izuku, he says, starting to shed tears, which he quickly wipes away, and then he stands up. Izuku, well, I think it's time to visit the old house. He says while pressing a button, and the garage door lowers, but Izuku exits before it closes. Izuku, alright, let's go. He says before leaving his house and walking towards a specific place, which is away from the city. It would take him a couple of hours to reach that place, so he takes a bus, which drops him off near the location. Izuku walks until he reaches the old house where he lived with his mother and father, triggering a sense of pain. But he gathers courage and enters the house, which is quite large. Izuku walks until he reaches the basement, where he sees many dirty things, including his father's old cars covered in dust. However, he doesn't dwell on that and moves to the next basement floor. Izuku, I can stay here as long as I want since today is the weekend, and I don't work. he says while continuing to search, finding many things but not what he wants. After 3 hours, he finally finds what he's been searching for, a large model that he handles carefully and places on the floor since he has no other place to put it. Izuku, this is what my father wanted to do, a futuristic city, or rather, a healthy city without toxic gases or anything like that. He wanted to create a place where everything runs on energy, even the cars. He says, looking at the well-designed model. Izuku, enlighten me, father. He says before taking a closer look at the model but remembers something else. Reactor arc, that's a good name for the experiment, don't you think, son? Izuku, damn, this place brings back so many memories. He says as he moves away from the model, covering it with a blanket. He starts going upstairs, reminiscing along the way, and finally reaches the upper floor where he sees his father's cars. He looks at one in particular, which has always been his favorite. Izuku, it's been a long time since the last time I saw you, old man. He says as he approaches the dusty car and runs his hand over it. Izuku, without a doubt, you've always been my favorite car. Izuku opens the car door and sees that the keys are in the ignition. He gets in and starts the engine, succeeding after a few attempts. Izuku, haha, what do you say we go for a ride? He says as he gets out of the car, reaches the garage door, opens it with a button, and returns to the car. Upon getting in, he shifts gears and starts accelerating until he exits the place and reaches outside, where he starts driving on the dirt road, unintentionally causing the car to drift due to the loose soil. However, Izuku manages to control it, feeling the adrenaline, quickly getting used to it and accelerating more, doing more drifts until he stops and looks towards the sea since the house is on top of a hill with a view of the sea. Izuku sighs, at least I still feel excitement. He says while looking at the sea, feeling nostalgic as memories of his father flood back, bringing tears to his eyes. He lets them flow, expressing deep sorrow, but after a while, he hears his phone ringing. He takes out his phone and sees that it's Nezu, so he dries his tears and answers the call. Izuku, what's up, director? Nezu, young man, where are you? Izuku, I'm a bit busy, but what's going on? Nezu, I came to your house to deliver the money. Izuku, I see. I'll be there immediately. Nezu, young man, are you okay? Izuku, yes, don't worry. Izuku ends the call, puts away his phone, and then starts accelerating the car, making a turn to head back home. Izuku. Is something wrong, director? Nezu. Young man, where are you? Izuku. I'm a bit busy, but what's up? Nezu. I came to your house to give you the money. Izuku. I see. I'll be right there. Nezu. Young man, are you okay? Izuku. Yes, don't worry. Izuku ends the call, puts away his phone, and starts speeding up his car, heading towards his house. Current chapter. Opening. After a while, Izuku manages to reach his house in the car, which he parks outside next to Nezu's car, alongside Aizawa. They are surprised to see Izuku arriving in a car, knowing he doesn't own one. Izuku gets out of the car and walks over to Aizawa and Nezu. Izuku. Well. Here I am, director. Nezu. Hello, young Midoriya. And what about this car? Izuku. It's my father's. I went to his old house and found this car in the garage, so I brought it to prevent it from rusting. It will be useful, although I need to get a driver's license to use it properly. Nezu. Alright. Well, young man, take this. Nezu hands him a check, and Izuku, upon seeing the amount, opens his eyes wide. Izuku. Is this a joke? Nezu. No, even I was surprised, but the person I sold the robot to was impressed with the work, as the robot is very helpful. Izuku. I see, but this is quite astonishing. I still can't believe it. Nezu. Believe it, young man. This is the reward for your great work. Izuku. Thank you, director. Seriously, thank you very much. Nezu. You're welcome, young man. Keep up your great work, I'll have more good news for you soon. Izuku. Yes. Nezu and Aizawa leave, leaving Izuku alone. He quickly enters his house, goes to the garage, and looks at the check, quite excited. Izuku. With this, maybe I can buy some things I need to create the armor. He says as he examines the check, which reads 5 million, that's 5 million yen. Izuku. I have to think about everything I need and see how much everything costs. Although, first, I have to buy a computer, and with the 100,000 yen I have saved, I can buy it. I feel very happy. He says before leaving the garage, getting in the car, and driving to the mall. He quickly goes to a store and buys a powerful computer, arranging for it to be assembled at his home. He then goes back home, stopping for gas on the way. Once home, he parks the car, enters the garage, and starts checking prices for materials on his phone. Izuku. Let's see. Copper, cables, cushions to fit inside the suit, plates of highly resistant iron. He says while checking the costs of some things, which amount to 2 million yen. He isn't surprised, knowing that everything he needs is quite expensive. Izuku. I guess for now, I can buy these things. Although, I prefer to wait until I have all the money I need to buy everything at once, or I won't be able to make any progress. He says, blocking his phone and starting to think about his father's house and recalling a memory. Flashback. We see a 10-year-old Izuku studying while his parents argue. The argument stops, and Inko is heard crying. Hisashi enters Izuku's room, gives him a kiss on the forehead, and leaves, saying goodbye. Izuku understands what's happening despite his young age and continues studying while his mother cries. End of flashback. Izuku. Maybe I can call him and ask what he's going to do with that house. I really need a bigger place to work, though I won't abandon this house, and I might come to visit whenever I can. Although, this place holds many memories of me and my mother, and I feel that moving would be quite bad. He says while continuing to think, shedding some tears. Izuku. I think I have a lot of things in my heart and mind that have made me feel very bad. Izuku sighs, wipes away the tears, and starts drawing the plans since he needs many plans. After a while, the computer arrives, and Izuku receives it, then organizes his garage, moving things around to make it better, with the computer in a perfect spot. Izuku. Alright. Now I have to set up the computer and start with everything else. With the money from the check, I can buy the parts I need to finish creating the robot I'm working on. He says and turns to look at the robot, which he gazes at for a couple of minutes before returning his attention to the computer. He sets everything up and goes to a website to order the necessary items. Then, he goes to the bank to cash the check, saving the rest on a credit card where his father deposits money. With all this done, Izuku returns home and pays for everything, which isn't too expensive. Meanwhile, he starts jotting down ideas to improve Mount Lady's goggles and lists things needed for his suit in another notebook. Time passes, and now we see Izuku finishing assembling the new robot that will help at home, though it still needs to be configured with the computer. After completing the assembly and starting the configuration, he calls Wally, who brings the pet robot. They witness the moment the new robot activates, surprising Izuku. Time passes, and now we see Izuku finishing assembling the new robot that will help at home, though it still needs to be configured with the computer. After completing the assembly and starting the configuration, he calls Wally, who brings the pet robot. They witness the moment the new robot activates, surprising Izuku. Wally. What's its name? Izuku. I'll call her Eva. Yes, her name is Eva. Wally. Eva. Izuku watches as Wally approaches Eva, and they both examine each other, making Izuku smile as his robots start moving around. Izuku. Even robots can be friends and have feelings despite being made of tin and cables. He says as his robots head to the living room. Izuku. Well. It's time to call my father and ask him what he's going to do with that house. He could at least sell his car since he has more than enough money and doesn't need them. He says while looking at his phone, unlocking it, and searching for his father's number. He finds it and calls, hoping for a response. Izuku. I hope he answers. He says until he hears the voice of another person he knows, starting a conversation. Izuku. Dad? Hisashi. Izuku? Izuku. How are you? Hisashi. Fine, and you? Izuku. I've been okay. I recently found out that I'm married. Hisashi. So you found out. I guess you didn't take it well. Izuku. I'm still processing being married because I've spent little time with them. I'm focused on my things, like the academy and my inventions. Hisashi. I see. That's good, son. How are your inventions? Have you created something new? Izuku. Well, yes. I recently finished creating another robot. Now I have 3 robots at home, and they help me a lot. Hisashi. That's good, son. I'm glad to hear that. Izuku. I guess a thank you would be in order, right? Hisashi. Yes. Izuku. Sighs, well, I wanted to ask you if you're going to sell the house we used to live in or not. Hisashi. I see no one has told you, son, but that house is no longer mine. Izuku. Really? Hisashi. Yes. Izuku. And? Whose is it? Hisashi. Yours. Izuku is surprised by what his father said because he thought that the house belonged to Hisashi. Hearing that it's his surprises him. Izuku. What do you mean it's mine? Hisashi. Yes, you see, that house belonged to your mother, so I left it to her. But she passed away, so the house became yours. To get the deeds, you just have to go to the registry office, say you're the son of the hero Inko, and they'll take your details to give you the deeds. Izuku. I see. I thought it was still yours because. Well, my mother never told me anything about it. Hisashi. Of course, son. Since that day, she didn't want anything to do with me, so she bought another house. Izuku. Yes, I know, but well. I just wanted to ask you about that since I'm a bit short on money and need to sell some things. I thought I could sell your cars there, but I'll keep the Dodge. Hisashi. That's okay, son. I no longer need those cars, so you can sell them, and I'm sure someone will buy them since they're valuable relics worth a lot of money. Izuku. I know. Well. Thank you very much, and take care. Hisashi. Thank you, son. Call me more often if you want. Izuku. Okay. See you. Izuku ends the call, sighs heavily, and then sits in his chair, which has wheels. Izuku. Well. I guess it's time to go get those papers. He says as he lets out another sigh, then goes to take a shower and dresses in very comfortable clothes. Izuku. All right. Now I just have to bring my ID and nothing else, I suppose, as that should be enough. Izuku says as he searches for his ID until he finds it, putting it in his pocket. He then leaves his house, gets in the car, and starts driving to the city center. After a while, he arrives and parks the car. He then gets out, starts walking, and reaches the civil registry, finding a long line of people. Izuku. All right. Now to wait for quite some time. He says before taking out his phone and noticing a message from Ryukyu. Izuku. Since the day she asked for my number, she always talks to me. Calm down, Miss Ryukyu. I'm a bit busy because I'm at the civil registry. Ryukyu. Did something happen, Midoriya? Izuku. No, I'm just doing some things. I'll explain later what I'm up to. Ryukyu. Alright, Midoriya-kun, take care, okay? Izuku. Sure, see you later. Izuku puts away his phone, notices the progress in the line, and quickly goes to the woman attending to explain his situation. It gets complicated because Izuku is underage and needs an adult to handle the paperwork for the house to be transferred to his name. This saddens him, but he comes up with an idea, takes out his phone, and makes a call. After a while, we see Izuku with a folder in hand, walking with Aizawa, who sighs. Aizawa, it still surprises me that they let you handle your mother's house papers. Izuku, well, I just needed an adult, and since you're my teacher, I could do it. Thanks, sensei. Aizawa, no problem, Midoriya. Well, it's time for me to go. Izuku, wait, I want to ask for your help with something. Aizawa, for what? Izuku, there are some vintage cars of my father in the house, and I want to sell them. They're relics, and I can make good money. Aizawa, I see. Alright, let's go. The sooner we get there, the better, I have some things to take care of. Izuku, okay. Izuku and Aizawa get into Izuku's car, start it, and drive to the house on the hill, which we'll call the Stark House. After a while, they arrive at the house, and Izuku parks the car outside. They head to the garage, where Aizawa is surprised by its size and the vintage cars inside. Aizawa, wow. Izuku, my father really likes cars, and these are some of the few relics he has, although they're nothing compared to the ones he has in the United States. Aizawa, is he there? Izuku, yes, he sent me a photo of the cars he has there, and they're quite old. Aizawa, seems like he's a big fan of cars. Izuku, you have no idea. Izuku walks with Aizawa towards the cars, and they start inspecting them. They realize all the cars are in perfect condition, catching Aizawa's eye on a particular vintage Camaro. Izuku notices and smiles. Izuku, looks like you really like that car. Aizawa, well, it's nice. Izuku, want it? Aizawa, yes, but I won't let you give it to me. I'll pay you well for the car. I have a lot of money, and spending it on something I like is a good idea, right? Izuku, yep. Aizawa, alright, today I'll go to the bank and get the money to pay you. The car will be mine once I give you the money. Izuku, okay, sensei. The car is yours. Aizawa, thanks, Midoriya, but I won't take it today. I'll take it once I've given you the money. Izuku, okay, sensei. As you wish. Aizawa, good. Luckily, I have a few contacts who would like to buy these cars. Izuku, really? I thought you didn't talk to anyone. Aizawa, just because I look like a wanderer and antisocial doesn't mean I don't talk to anyone. Throughout my hero career, I've made several friendships and met many people. Izuku, that surprises me. Aizawa, I thought at least you would have a different view than others, but it seems you see me the same way they do. Izuku, and no, sensei. Don't think that. I don't see you that way. To me, you're pretty cool since your quirk is amazing, and you're a great fighter. I've watched many of your fights, and they're awesome. Aizawa, thanks, then. Izuku, you're welcome. Aizawa, well, it's time to get started. Izuku, yes. Our favorite duo starts moving, and in no time, Aizawa already has 3 buyers, surprising Izuku. There are still 3 cars to sell, and they continue waiting, but Izuku and Aizawa are cleaning and organizing things to pass the time. After an hour, Aizawa has 3 more buyers, making it a total of 6. Izuku is happy, and together with Aizawa, they start calling the buyers. One of the 6 turns out to be Present Mike, who wants to buy a convertible from the garage. Without much mystery, Izuku and Aizawa manage to sell all 6 cars. Izuku is ecstatic because now he has enough money to start building his armor. However, he is still pondering how to make the suit work since it requires energy, and he doesn't know what type of energy to use. After a few hours, we see Izuku looking at the garage, which no longer has the cars. The sellers came to pick them up and paid Izuku, who managed to get 30 million yen. I know it's not much, but I don't want Izuku to have too much money for now, as I want him to be a poor version of Tony Stark, and most of that money will go towards the suit. Izuku sighs. I feel pretty happy about this. Now I have to go to the house and tell the girls that we'll move to this place. He says as he leaves the house, closing it, and gets into his car to start driving. Along the way, he thinks about the girls, realizing they might be hungry. He stops at a fast food place, buys pizza and some burgers, and continues his way until he reaches the house. There, he notices some things are broken in the yard, which starts to worry him. However, he enters the house and hears some arguments, prompting him to walk slowly to the living room, where Ryukyu, Mirko, and Mount Lady are arguing while Namuri tries to calm them, without success. Mirko, I've told you 1,000 times to stop acting. We all know you're only nice to the brat because you have nowhere else to go. If we leave, we might end up in jail. Ryukyu, how many times do I have to tell you that I genuinely care about Midoriya-kun? At least I try to keep the peace because living with a damn bitter and cranky person like you is impossible. Mirko, sure. No one believes that. And you, just because the brat gave you some glasses, now you want to get along with him. Mount Lady, first of all, I haven't been as awful as you, damn rabbit. I received his gift because he made it for me. Besides, even though he's a brat, I realized he has good intentions with us. If he didn't, we might already be violated or even worse. But we're not. On the contrary, he cares about each of us. He leaves food in plastic containers for us to take to work so we can have a proper lunch. He cares about our well-being. Ryukyu, and he breaks his back working to keep the house and feed us. How do you repay him? By acting like a damn fool. Mirko, shut up. Ryukyu, does it bother you to hear the truth? You know very well that I'm telling the truth. Even Namuri changed her attitude towards Midoriya, and she gets along better with him. But you're the only stupid one who doesn't get along with him when he cares more about you than anyone else. Mirko, I said shut up. She says before raising her hand and slapping Ryukyu, but it hits Izuku's face as he steps in, preventing the slap from reaching Ryukyu. She is surprised to see Izuku in front of her, as well as Mount Lady, Namuri, and Mirko, who thought he wasn't home. Mirko, brat. Namuri, Rumi, you damn idiot, what did you do? Ryukyu, Midoriya-kun. Mount Lady, Midoriya. Izuku, please, stop arguing. It's not good for you to fight. He says while holding 2 boxes of pizza and 5 burgers, which are on top of the boxes. Izuku, I don't want you to keep fighting because of me. he says and leaves the food on the coffee table while the women are still surprised. Izuku, I brought you something to eat. Since today was a good day, and good things happened. I wanted to tell you about them, but I found you arguing. Ryukyu, Midoriya-kun, is your cheek okay? Is it not hurt? Izuku, don't worry. I'm fine, but I don't want you to keep arguing, please, as it makes the atmosphere feel bad. Nemuri, Izuku-kun, let me see if your cheek is okay. Izuku, relax, Midnight Sensei, everything is fine. Mount Lady, Midoriya, should I get you some ice? Your cheek is a bit swollen. Izuku, don't worry, Miss Mount Lady. This will go down in a few minutes. It's not the first time I've had bumps on my face, so don't worry. Ryukyu, Mirko, you damn. Izuku, silence. He says in a loud shout, causing the women to be quite surprised, and they turn to see him, realizing Izuku has a serious expression. Izuku, I said don't keep fighting. Please, don't keep fighting. It's not good for you. Ryukyu, but, Midoriya-kun, she. Izuku, it doesn't matter. Just don't keep fighting. Please eat, or the food will get cold. I'll go buy soda so you can have it with the food. Nemuri, do you want me to come with you? Izuku, no. Mount Lady, let me accompany you, Midoriya. Izuku, I said no. If I come back and find you arguing, I swear I won't hesitate to kick you out of the house. He says with a very serious tone, causing the women to sweat but not say anything. They just listen as the door of the house closes, indicating that Izuku left. They are left staring and sitting on the couch in total silence. With Izuku, we see our dear Izuku walking down the street towards a small store to buy a soda while talking on the phone. Izuku. And that's what happened. Nezu. I see. Izuku. Principal, is there really no way to cancel the marriage contract? Nezu. There is. But it's quite complicated. Izuku. Then I want to execute it because if they continue living in the same house, they'll end up fighting at any moment. Nezu. Are you sure about this, young Midoriya? Maybe you should think about it. Izuku. I don't need to think about it anymore, Principal. I want to cancel the marriage contract because they can't keep living in the same house. I knew from the beginning that this would end badly, so I want them to leave before the situation gets worse. Nezu. Alright, young Midoriya. Later, come to my house, and we'll discuss this matter. Izuku. Alright, Principal. Luckily, I don't work today, so I can come. Nezu. Well, I'll send you the location so you can find it. Izuku. Thanks, see you later. Nezu. Goodbye. Izuku hangs up the call and notices he has several messages from Ryukyu, Mount Lady, and Nemuri, but he decides not to respond. He puts his phone away, but someone runs past him and snatches it, prompting Izuku to chase after the person until he intercepts him, causing our protagonist to kick the thief's legs, making him fall face first to the ground. Izuku doesn't stop and grabs the thief to start hitting him in the face, making the thief bleed a lot. Izuku grabs his phone and calls the police, who arrive after 5 minutes and take the thief away. They also commend Izuku for defending himself and capturing the thief. Izuku thanks them and goes on his way until he reaches the store where he buys a soda and goes back to the house. Izuku, at least they won't have more problems between them. Now we can see or read about our main character who is arriving at Nezu's house. Nezu opens the door, letting him in, and this surprises our Izuku a lot because Nezu's house is quite big. Nezu, come in, young Midoriya. Izuku, excuse me, director. He says while entering the house, noticing that the inside is also quite large. This seems odd to him because Nezu is small, but he doesn't say anything and waits for Nezu to arrive. Nezu shows up after a few seconds with a computer and 2 cups of coffee. Izuku helps with the coffee cups. Nezu, good. Now we need to go to the civil registry page and start doing some things to give you the possibility of annulling the marriage. Izuku, okay. Nezu, I'll ask you one last time. Are you sure about this? Izuku, yes. With that said, Nezu starts working on the webpage. Meanwhile, in Tartarus prison, we see the beautiful ex-hero Lady Nagant being released due to reduced sentence for good behavior and the marriage reducing her sentence further. Nagant, finally, I'm going to see my beautiful broccoli. She says affectionately as she walks towards the city. Back with Izuku. Nezu, and with this, we would be ready. Izuku, well. Nezu, think about it, young man. Tomorrow we have to go and sign so that you can finally be single. Izuku, I have nothing to think about, director. They've been fighting all this time because of me. Being married to me caused the problems they have now. Nezu, you know, young man, Mirko has always been like that. She's tough and annoying, but when you get to know her, you realize she's quite good. If you don't believe me, you could ask Hawks. Izuku, maybe. But I don't want to see whether it's true or not. Because of me, she almost hit Miss Ryukyu. If I hadn't interfered, she would have hit her. Nezu, well, she's always aggressive, but think about it, young man. You can still change your mind. Izuku, okay, director. Tomorrow I'll tell my decision. Nezu, alright, young man. Izuku, well, I have to go now, it's getting a little late. Nezu, alright, young man. Have a good night, and if you have any problems, come. Izuku, okay, director. Thank you for supporting me. Nezu, it's the least I can do, young man. Izuku, hee hee hee. Izuku stands up, walks to the door, opens it, and leaves, closing the door behind him. He starts walking towards his home. Izuku, sigh, it's the best thing I can do so they don't have more problems. He says while walking until he passes by a bar. He stops and observes carefully, then decides to enter the bar. Emotionally hurt, he doesn't think very clearly. We, being from Latin America, know what it feels like to always be in a tough situation and make impulsive decisions when the mind isn't clear. With Nagant. She looks at a paper with the address of the house, arrives after a few minutes, and rings the doorbell. Wally opens the door with Eva, who is happy. Nagant isn't surprised since she knows that Inko always liked robotics, just like Izuku. Once inside, she encounters the other heroines who are surprised to see the ex-hero in the house. Nagant thinks carefully before acting due to what Izuku told them, as he could arrive at any moment. Nagant, what the hell are you all doing here? Ryukyu, Nagant, don't start a fight unless you want Midoriya to kick us out of the house. Nagant, what do you mean? Nemuri, sit down, and we'll tell you. So, Nagant sits on one of the couches, and the women begin to tell her what happened, making Nagant angry, especially with Mirko and the others. Ryukyu is the only one she spares because she never did anything wrong to Izuku. Nagant, darn, it's frustrating. Because of your actions, now my Izuku is upset. He's a good guy, and I'm sure he didn't do anything wrong. And you, Ryukyu, treated him poorly. Nemuri, relax. Nagant, be quiet, and don't call me by name because all of you, except Lizard, are frustrating. She stands up, and you, troublesome bunny, she approaches Mirko, what if I confront you for hitting my Izuku? She says with an angry tone, causing Ryukyu to separate them. Meanwhile, Mirko is silent, reflecting on when she hit Izuku. This makes her stand up and go to her room, leaving the others sitting on the couches, waiting for Izuku to arrive. Hours pass, making the girls worry. Midnight starts calling Nezu to ask if he's with him. Nemuri, director, is Midoriya-kun with you? Nezu, Nemuri-san, it's 5 in the morning, and no, he's not with me. He left around 10 in the evening. Nemuri, he hasn't arrived, and we're very worried. Nezu, how nice. Now that he's not okay, you're concerned. But when he was fine, you treated him pretty badly. Nemuri, but, director. Nezu, no director, think about everything you've done and how you treated him before it's too late. With that, Nezu hangs up, leaving Nemuri with a sad expression. Ryukyu approaches her. Ryukyu, what did he say? Nemuri, he said Midoriya-kun isn't with him, and he left his house around 10 in the evening. Nagant, it's all because of your arguments. I'll go look for him, and you stay here because if I see you looking for him, I won't hesitate to confront you. With that said, Nagant starts walking to leave the house, but the sound of the door opening attracts the attention of the women. They approach the door and see Izuku entering. However, he has some stains on his clothes and face, though there are no injuries. This alarms the women, but a strong smell of alcohol reaches their noses, and they quickly conclude what happened. Ryukyu, Midoriya, where were you? Izuku, and who are you to ask me where I was? I don't need to explain myself to anyone about what I do. He says, slurring his words and swaying from side to side, showing signs of being very drunk, even hiccups. Nemuri, Midoriya-kun, please tell us what happened. Izuku, I said I don't give explanations to anyone. Mount Lady, Midoriya, let me help you walk since you're so drunk. She says, approaching Izuku, but he doesn't let her touch him. Izuku, Don't touch me, and get out of my house. He says, taking off his shoes and leaving them in disarray. Then, he walks to the kitchen, opens a cabinet, takes out some rum bottles, puts them on another cabinet, opens one, pours himself a glass, lifts it to his mouth, and drinks it all in one go. Ryukyu organizes Izuku's shoes while the others walk to the kitchen door. Izuku continues drinking, and Ryukyu orders the other women to step back. Nagant, hey, Izuku, give me those bottles, or you'll see how mad I get. Izuku, I don't give a darn. Leave me alone. First, you treat me poorly, and mess with me every day, and now you want me to stop enjoying my moment. I don't have to listen to you since you said that even if you're married to me, you won't act like wives, so I can do whatever I want. He says, then walks away and starts going upstairs. Ryukyu grabs him, but he lets go and keeps going. When going up the stairs, he almost falls several times, but Nagant grabs him. However, he releases himself and continues until he reaches the top. He walks out to the terrace, closes the window so the women won't bother him. Izuku sits and starts looking at the stars and the dark sky while still drinking. Izuku, I feel so good. He says, continuing to drink, although he still feels pain, causing him to shed some tears. The girls watch him through the window, starting to regret the times they treated him badly. However, only Yu and Nemuri feel this remorse, both with a sad expression. After a few hours, our protagonist is completely asleep in the chair he was sitting in. Yu, using her quirk, enlarges herself, grabs Izuku to return to her normal size while holding him in her arms. Yu, I'll take him to his room. Nagant, give him to me, I'll take him since you have no right to do that. She says, grabbing Izuku in her arms. She turns and starts walking to Izuku's room. When she arrives, Nagant puts him in bed, then goes to the patio, grabbing a bucket just in case Izuku wants to vomit. She goes back upstairs, enters the room, lies down next to Izuku, who is at the edge of the bed. Hours pass, and everyone wakes up, but our protagonist wakes up with a strong headache since he has never drunk alcohol in his life. Izuku, ouch. My head hurts a lot.